Welcome to the City. I'm Anthony Wilson, the Public Information Officer for the City of San Angelo. And joining us today is a new colleague, but an old friend, Sydney Walker, our Civic Events Manager. Sid, thanks for being with us.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Now, you just recently became the Civic Events Manager just a couple of months ago. For people who haven't met you and don't know you, talk a little bit about your background.
Well, originally I'm from Lake Charles, Louisiana. I've been in San Angelo, Texas for quite some time, I would say. Now I was serving in the military at Goodfellow Air Force Base. I was in the military for 9 years. And, I did end up getting out and went to college and decided to stay here in San Angelo, Texas. And here I am, ended up being the Civic Events Manager for the City of San Angelo. So it's a great honor to be here.
And, of course, you have done some concert promotion during your time in the military, which sort of dovetails into this job as the Civic Events Manager. Talk about why you wanted the job.
Well, like you said, I did concerts here. I did them for 10 years here, and it was a great time. I was able to put on, it started off as a hobby at first, and then, it ended up getting serious for me, while I was serving my time in the military and stuff. And, as being a promoter, I was able to see a lot of things from the other side, from what I guess what a Civic Events Manager would see it from, and things that we would like to see to bring more events here and for both of them to come together and stuff. So, becoming a Civic Events Manager for the city was something that I wanted to do, I wanted to accomplish, because I feel that I can bring more events to the city and more concerts, more things for families to do together and stuff like that, So it's a great thing right now for me to keep
pushing. Of course, the Civic Events Manager is always asked why we don't have more concerts in city venues.
Yes.
Of course, you've been in those shoes before, and it's a lot more involved and a lot more complicated than people may imagine. Talk a little bit about how that process works and the challenges that come with trying to promote a concert.
I don't think people understand how difficult it is to put together a concert. I think most people think you just call up an artist, tell them, hey, come to San Angelo, Texas on this date, and they'll be here, and everything is all smiles. It's a lot more details with everything. You have to deal with the artist, you have to deal with management, you have to deal with their agent, and there's other people that you have to deal with just to have them come to the city. And of course, they want to know what venue they're coming to, what's the capacity, how much tickets are going to be, if they're going to have to do a meet and greet. And many people don't understand that artists, they're human beings, of course, but this is a job to them as well, and they're coming out of their way to come to a city like San Angelo, Texas, to put on a show. And with me, I've been, a promoter, so I've seen a lot of things from that side. And then now being a Civic Events Manager, I see things from the city side as well, with having venues and stuff like that. When you go to an artist, they're gonna ask, how big is the venue? Well, if we take San Angelo River Stage, you can fit $6,000 to $8,000. So the price that they're gonna give you is a festival price, because they see it as 6,000 to 8,000 people can possibly come out to see this concert, not knowing that, in San Angelo, sometimes we do have low sales at certain events and stuff. So it's one of those things that you always have to battle with, but I'm ready to take that battle on and bring more events to the city of San Angelo, and try to snag a couple from Midland and people that are going to San Antonio or en route to Austin as well.
And just to enlighten our viewers about the cost of a concert, because it's pretty eye-popping. Talk about the costs that are involved when you're promoting a concert, which is really a very risky business.
Yeah, it's very risky. I mean, concerts, you have artists that start off at $3,500, and your top celebrity stars, you could take Taylor Swift, who's going to go for more than $500,000. So of course she wouldn't be able to play in San Angelo, Texas. It just wouldn't make sense. But we can still get other artists that can please plenty of people out here in the city, but you have to take in consideration the production of putting on a concert, hotel rooms, flights, the cost to other artists as well, and that all has to play a part in the ticket prices. You can't have astronomical numbers on how much you're putting out for an artist and expect low ticket sales. You just can't put both of those together for events out here.
So just suffice it to say that anyone who tries to promote a concert here in San Angelo, they're spending tens of thousands of dollars at a minimum in order to put on that event.
Yes, definitely. They're spending a huge amount of money just to put on a concert, and just trying to break even. That's one of the big things. A lot of promoters are, as long as I break even, I'm fine with that, but nobody wants to be under, for the most part.
Now, one of the concerts that you're currently working on is for our third annual Riverfest,
Yes.
which will be September 18th and 19th. Talk about what's planned for that.
Well, of course, this is our third annual Riverfest event. It is the Stripes Riverfest 2015. We are putting together a few different things this time around. This year we'll have two days of concerts. We're planning a family concert on Friday, September 18th, and then on September 19th we go into our all-day festivities. We have the kids court. We have a glow-in-the-dark run that will take place that night. We will have a glow-in-the-dark concert that's going to take place for the kids and teenagers, college kids. We also have Lily Fest that'll be taking place. We're in talks right now to do a river raft race as well. And all the little amenities that we had in prior years, those will also be going on as well. So just expect a great time. We're trying to make something different. Last year they did around 9,000. So this year we're trying to push for 12,000 people to come out to these events.
Now with the concerts, correct me if I'm wrong, but Friday night's concert will be free and then Saturdays will be a ticketed event?
Yes, sir. Friday's supposed to be a free concert, family to come out and enjoy. This is how we're going to kick off Riverfest 2015. And then Saturday we're going to go into it and we're going to have a great party and stuff out there.
And do you have any idea when tickets will go on sale?
Tickets should go on sale late July, early August. That's what we're looking at right now. Possibly we're looking at about the July 26th is where we're looking at right now for ticket sales.
So you've talked very enthusiastically and openly about making Riverfest this huge annual draw for San Angelo. You think it can grow into something much bigger and better than what we've had in the past 2 years, which has been very good indeed. Talk a little bit about sort of what your vision for that event is.
For me, I just see that San Angelo needs a staple event that, right now that we're lacking right now, that people can come out to, communities, out-of-towners, and everybody can enjoy. When you look at places like San Antonio, they have Fanfare. Austin has South by Southwest and ACL and other events. Midland has Crude Fest as well. So all of these places, they have an event that's a staple that people come out to and enjoy. And I feel that San Angelo, we don't have something that people can attract to and say, hey, I can't wait for that time of the year so we can go out there with the family and enjoy the festivities. And that's my plan with Riverfest. It might take a few years, but I'm really I'm accepting the challenge to make sure that this event becomes a staple in the community, and so hopefully we can read about it in some Texas magazine for entertainment and stuff.
Do you have other goals as the Civic Events Manager?
Oh, definitely. I want to see more conventions come to San Angelo, Texas, of course. More concerts. That's my love right there. It's concerts of all types. It's not just one type of genre. I want to see all genres be able to get pleased and stuff. From blues concerts, Tejano concerts, country, Texas country. I think we all need those type of events to come to San Angelo. But for those events to come to San Angelo, we also need people to be able to go out and support these events. And ticket sales are, I don't think people understand how much goes involved with the concerts. And so when they question how ticket sales are or why tickets are a certain price, they have to understand it costs to bring these artists to San Angelo, Texas. It's not something that we get here for free or nothing like that.
So there has also been some talk about increasing the seating within Foster Communications Coliseum. What can you tell us about that?
We're still in the early process right now, early stages of everything. There's been talks about remodeling for Foster Communications Coliseum. And that's all I could really say right now. Yes, they're talking about adding box seating as well at the Coliseum, which would be nice, and I think this also will help attract more events to the city, because right now, with the way the Coliseum is, it's underutilized, but also it's old. We know that it's old and that we need to do some upgrades on it to be able to attract many of the events that we used to have come to San Angelo at a time.
Speaking of upgrades, finally, after 30 years, we are replacing the marquee outside this building, the McNeese Convention Center. Talk a little bit about that project.
Well, the first time whenever I walked into my office and the first city council meeting, Councilman Silvas came into my office and was like, introduced himself, and then the first thing he brought up was the marquee sign. So that was my first real project that I had, and finally, after all of this time, there will be a digital marquee sign out in front of the McNeese Convention Center that I'm glad that we're finally going to be able to change out from the old sign right now, because the old sign was just like I said, it was old. You know, it's one of those that it was time for it to go. And now with the digital marquee sign, we'll be able to do a lot more with it, with advertising events, upcoming events. We can put on there messages and certain things for people to be able to see and attract to, instead of that one message that's on each side of the panel.
You are a huge wrestling fan, and I know that you have loved when the WWE shows have come in the past. Any plans for them coming back in the near future?
That's right. I'm pushing for it right now. We had a conflict with them at one time because it was around the time of Riverfest, and you know, of course, I didn't want both of those events happening right at the same time. But we are looking at October, trying to bring WWE back to the city of San Angelo. You know, I'm looking forward to it. Of course, this will be my first time having WWE come from under my wings and stuff. And so every time I get the call from WWE, I'm pretty excited to be able to talk to them and find out what's going on and stuff.
Any other events on the near horizon that you can talk about?
Many concerts. Be on the lookout. We may have Price is Right come to the city of San Angelo. There's a few other events that I'm actually looking into right now as well. Promoters, you know, that have been calling, just trying to figure out dates and stuff. But I'm looking forward to the rest of 2015, 2016, and bringing more events to the city of San Angelo.
We've been talking with the Civic Events Manager, Sydney Walker, and we'll be back in just a moment. As a steady rain was falling outside the convention center, City Councilman Rodney Fleming was inside, making his case for tighter watering restrictions. Councilman Fleming is concerned the abundant rainfall San Angelo has enjoyed this year has lulled the community into a false sense of security regarding its water supply. San Angelo's primary water source, the Ivy Reservoir, is still at less than 20% of its capacity. Factoring in the Hickory Aquifer, San Angelo has about a 40-month supply of water. Councilman Fleming is proposing stretching that as much as possible by limiting summertime watering to once every 7 days when the city is in standard conservation. Currently, outside watering is allowed twice every 7 days, though never between the hours of noon and 6 p.m. Citing a respected horticulturist, Fleming says once-a-week watering would train root systems to burrow deeper into the earth in search of moisture. That would result in hardier vegetation.
You train it to, if you water less frequently and a little longer, the roots grow deeper and they get stronger. You'll actually have a better yard than watering, 3 times a week and less time.
Water Utilities Director Bill Riley said now that the Hickory Aquifer is online, he's crafting a revamped drought plan that would no longer be triggered by the amount of water in lakes. He said the drought plan must dovetail with the potential restructuring of water rates. The Water Advisory Board will hear the results of a water rate study at its July meeting. It's anticipated the board will offer a recommendation to the City Council on water rates in the near future.
But I think the biggest factor behind the looking at the drought plan and the conservation plan is, does it really reflect what we ought to be doing in the long term? One of the things that we're seeing statewide is the drought has kind of over in a lot of places. Where they had watering restrictions in place, they're keeping those in place because they want people to keep that same mindset of using water like that. Well, we're still in a drought, and we need to be thinking about that in the long term. What's the best way to utilize our resource?
Fleming noted the fine line between the need to conserve water and the need to sell an adequate amount to support the operation and maintenance of San Angelo's water infrastructure.
And it all has to go hand in hand, and unfortunately, our rates have not really, a lot of people think our rates have gone up a whole lot, but our rates are still some of the lowest rates in the whole state of Texas right now. We still pay one of the lowest rates in Texas, so something does have to give on that. If you save water, then your rates are going to have to go up. They have to. I mean, that's the cost of operating.
The question of whether to tighten watering restrictions will also be referred to the Water Advisory Board for its consideration. Fleming voiced confidence the board will offer a sound solution on watering regulations. For SATV, I'm Anthony Wilson. Welcome back to the city. We are now joined by our new recreation manager, Brent Casey. Brent, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, you joined the city as the recreation manager in April. For those who have never met you, talk a little bit about your background.
Well, I spent most of my career in the United States Air Force working fitness and sports and doing a multitude of things in that area. Some of it was some mortuary experience, but we won't talk about that. But then when I retired after 20 years and 10 days, not that I was counting in the Air Force, but retired, took a year off to get some family time in. Started volunteering with the city, recreation department actually, and volunteered for about 3 years there as coaches, and had a great time doing that. But volunteered pretty much all over the country, been working with kids and adult sports for all my life pretty much, but when I got a little bit too old and the knees started going bad and couldn't play anymore, then I really enjoyed coaching and done tons of that at all different levels.
So when you saw the job opening for our recreation manager, what about that job interested you?
Everything. That my wife actually showed it to me, and I was like, that's perfect for me right there. That's the one. So we decided we're going to apply for it, and lo and behold, out of 70 people, I was the lucky one to be chosen. So,
you mentioned that you worked in this field in the United States Air Force for most of your military career. How does what you're doing now compare to what you were doing then?
very similar in a lot of ways. The sports aspect, definitely a lot of the same. Didn't really work so much in the job with the youth sports, but with the adult sports, it was pretty much the same. We had tons of different tournaments, worked all different levels of tournaments and things, and all different sports in the Air Force, and loved running the fitness centers. It was the greatest job in the Air Force that I could have had. It's very similar in that aspect, but there also are things with like the Nature Center and the Senior Center that wasn't really a part of my responsibilities with the Air Force. So those are kind of new to me, but I'm learning a lot day by day, and got some great people in charge of those places. So it's going well.
I wanted to ask you about your approach to the job. Have you been taking some time sort of sitting back and watching and learning, or have you just dove right in and started making changes, or maybe a combination of the two?
I think it's a combination of the two. The Nature Center and the Senior Citizen Center, kind of sitting back, learning, suggesting some things here and there. Like I said, some great people there. The pool kind of had to really jump right in with the Love Municipal Pool. As you know, you're one of the users over there in the morning for lap swimming. It just wasn't in the greatest condition, so I had to jump in and get that corrected. But we did, and it's a beautiful facility, and it looks even better now, and have people telling me that it looks great and looks better than it was last year. So that's great news to hear, and we're very happy. Hope we can keep that up with all aspects of the recreation department.
I know you have some ideas for some new programming that you'd like to offer. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Here coming up pretty soon, we're going to start offering softball, girls softball for the youth, fast pitch, and we're also going to be offering baseball. Both leagues are going to be this fall out of Texas Bank Sports Complex. Going to be great. Hopefully, you can start registering for that now at our office, 702 South Chadburn, and we're hoping to get it started. And even if we have a few teams, then at least we can build off of that and plan for the future. So,
do you see any particular areas where there's a lot of potential for programming and for growth?
Everywhere. I mean, the rec centers, they obviously need some work, but we're going to deal with what we have for now. But the Texas Bank Sports Complex, I'd say that is the greatest asset that we have, and we need to grow more. We're trying to grow more with those two programs, and we're also trying to get some more tournaments in here into San Angelo, so that the teams that play in San Angelo have tournaments here in their local area and don't have to travel to Dallas or Abilene or San Antonio and all over the great state of Texas to play in those high competitive tournaments.
Well, and I was going to ask you about that, because everyone loves to see when Texas Bank Sports Complex is bustling with a lot of people and a lot of activity. What do you think you can do in order to get more tournaments, which obviously adds to the economic development of the community as well? What do you think you can do to get more of that sort of thing at the sports complex?
Anthony, I've been there 2 months, and we've already had 2 tournaments with over 80 teams plus. So we're looking at building that up and keeping more tournaments going out there. We're always searching, trying new ideas. We're working on something right now to partner and get some sponsorships out there, more than what we have currently, and hopefully that works out here in the very near future, and we can just better the programs a little bit and keep people wanting to stay here and come to San Angelo and play, and instead of going to those other areas.
You mentioned a little earlier about Love Municipal Pool, and you came on board right before the pool opened. What sort of potential, maybe untapped potential, do you see in that particular facility?
That's such a beautiful place. Love Municipal Pool, to see the pictures from before I moved to San Angelo and compared to what it is now, there is such an opportunity there, and we just sold 550 tickets for an event just a couple of weeks ago that we had there. So that just tells you how much people enjoy that. So there's tons of potential for Love Municipal Pool. We need to get the things in there that people want, just like the movies and flick and floats that we're getting ready to have here pretty soon, and things like that, and see what the people of San Angelo want. That's what I'm after. Figure out what they want and give it to them, whether it be at the pool, the sports complex, or whatever.
You mentioned the Flick and Float, which is going to be a family-friendly movie that's going to be shown at Love Municipal Pool, and you also this summer are having 2 of those at Kirby Park. Those seem to have been very popular. The first one drew a lot of people. Do you anticipate doing more of that sort of thing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was such a great turnout. We had over 250 people out there at Kirby Park. So unfortunately, the Flick and Float's not going to be free admittance, but we do have another one coming up at Kirby Park in August. I believe it's August the 20th, and it's going to be free to the public as well. So, and then we have more scheduled for the fall time. So after it cools down a little bit, we're hoping to even build those numbers up high and get people out there to experience the great family opportunity.
You mentioned your background in sports and keeping the sports complex busy as much as possible. Do you see an opportunity for maybe having more sports offerings at the complex?
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the biggest goals that I have, is to get more tournaments in there to San Angelo, out there at the sports complex, and to just have all different levels, from the highest level competition to the rec leagues out there, and have people participating on such beautiful fields.
Yeah, Recreation's biggest event each year, of course, comes in February when you have date night, both daddy-daughter date night and mother-son date night. Have you even had a chance to begin thinking about what that event's going to be in the coming year?
Well, my daughter has made sure that I think about that event, because we've attended every year that I've been here, and I've got all the pictures on my desk. So it's something that we both look forward to, her and I, along with tons of people from San Angelo. So we have started thinking about it. I'm not going to give anything away just yet, but we've planned with some ideas and tossed a couple new ideas out there that'll be coming up. I don't know, maybe give the dads some dancing lessons or something like that the day before, and then give them a little spotlight time or special time or something like that. So people need to be watching out for that.
Yeah. As a father, what do you like about that event?
Oh, it's great. Get to go in there with my daughter and, see her face light up. It just means the world to me, just as it does to all the other dads out there when they come to that event. It's a beautiful thing. It's a great event. I can't think of one person that I didn't see smiling ear to ear when I would go for the past few years and attend it. So it's just awesome time, something that we as parents need to take more time to do, and we need to get more events like that for the dads and the moms to spend with their sons and their daughters.
You mentioned earlier you're having new experiences with new facilities in the Nature Center and the senior centers. Let's talk about the Nature Center first. What do you think, what sort of plans might you have for the Nature Center moving forward?
The building is not in the greatest of condition. Ultimately, the goal would be to get something done with the building, possibly a new building. Obviously, that takes funds, and some point in time down the road, hopefully that would work. But first, we got to get the people in there and make sure that the people continuously are coming back and keep the interest there with the community, which it is. Their interest is there. We have 20 kids out there at a camp right now this week, so that's great. We're hoping to get 25, but we'll settle for 20 this time, and then we'll improve it just a little bit next time and get that 25, get our goal number out there.
There has been talk about the potential of building a new nature center, as you mentioned, and you've probably had discussions about that with your boss, the Parks and Recreation Director, Carl White. Do you think that's a distinct possibility?
Absolutely. I think it's something that's needed. The funding just isn't there right now, so it's something that we're working on and looking forward to down the road. But it's the residents and people of San Angelo, they deserve it, and the youth around here especially, they deserve it, and we're going to make it happen at some point in time.
You mentioned to me that your daughter is a fan of the Nature Center. What is it about the Nature Center that she likes?
Oh, she loves everything. She is an animal crazy girl. She loves walking in there, and she's asking me if I can change the rules, because you have to be 13 to volunteer out there. And she's like, Daddy, you're the manager out there. Come on, you can bend those rules just a little bit, because she turns 12 next week. But her and my son both love going out there. We spend a few hours out there every time we go. My wife's not such a great snake fan, so she's always in a rush to get out. But my kids and I, we love it and have a great time.
The senior centers, of course, we have two of them. They're right across the alley from one another. Any specific plans for our senior centers and their programming?
We're taking that one kind of slow. We're looking to always expand our program, see what the people want. Sandra does a great job over there, Sandra Aguilar. She's got the trust of the seniors that come in. So I'm trying to spend some time and gain that trust from those people as well. And there are some plans in the works. We're just kind of taking it much slower with that one because that one is a new area for me.
You know, one of the things about the senior centers that I don't think a lot of people realize is you serve lunch
Yes.
Mondays through Fridays,
Very
and
good
they're
lunch,
quite
actually.
delicious.
Yes, they are very good. I've had it a couple times and looking forward to many more. We invite everyone out. Everyone's welcome to come in there. You don't have to be a senior to come out there and eat. And it's $5, so come on out and eat. It's one of the best lunches in town.
Your boss again, the Parks and Recreation Director, Carl White, he has proposed a multi-generational recreation facility. Your thoughts on that?
You know, Carl's a smart man. It'd be a great thing to be able to get that out there anywhere in the city. Both of ours, the Southside and Carl Ray that we use currently, they're still usable, but they need some work. And you know, again, that's the money thing. But to have something where we have all of the opportunities to expand our programs and get more programs in there in a new facility, that would just be tremendous. And yes, it's definitely something we're going to be pushing for in the future.
And of course, that would not only involve youth, but it would be a place where youth and seniors and people of all ages could go and exercise or engage in programming or whatever the case might be.
Absolutely. It'd be great all the way around. Yes, sir.
We've been talking with our Recreation Manager, Brent Casey, and we hope you'll join us for the next episode of The City.